This week marked the launch of New World, a new MMO from Amazon, of all places. Surprisingly enough, the game has been massively successful so far. I say surprisingly because Amazon has really struggled to make an impact in the gaming space ever since they kind of developed their own game studio, which has led to a couple underwhelming releases, to say the least, and then a lot of canceled projects. New World itself was delayed multiple times, had to go undergo massive reworks in terms of its core mechanics and ultimate goals, but it made it out. And after some kind of successful previews a couple weeks ago, it has put up massive, impressive numbers at release here. It peaked at over 700,000 players on Steam in launch day, and that was with some people not even being able to get into the game at all. That is the fifth highest concurrent count in Steam history, below legends like PUBG and Dota and things like that. So that is not something you see every day. The game has had a lot of synergy with Twitch, which is also owned by Amazon. So the viewership there has been off the charts, with people tuning in both to see a lot of their favorite creators play, but also to get things like Twitch drops for loot and stuff. So we are kind of entering a bold new era here in the sense that Amazon is suddenly a successful games company. And they're obviously late to the party, and this is a very established industry, so breaking into it is going to be tough, but they have done that in a very big way here, in a way that almost no one kind of thought they would, but obviously it's Amazon, so they have enough capital to kind of just invest in this endlessly, and yet we have seen kind of a lot of different divisions in terms of Megacorporations attempting to get into gaming. Microsoft obviously has been doing this for pretty much 2 decades now, and they have made the largest impact in the space with an entire console all to themselves. And they have done great work making tons of original franchises, and now they are expanding even more as time goes on. They've acquired an astonishing amount of studios, including most recently Bethesda for $7 billion. So they are kind of well ahead of everyone. And then the other side of the spectrum is probably Google, which did not enter with a console, but a streaming service, Stadia. And the opposite has happened with them, where they were developing first-party games that would presumably be Stadia exclusive or something like that. But ultimately, they shut down their first-party studio, and they are not making original games anymore. Amazon lies somewhere in the middle, where they've had a lot of trouble making games, but this one game does seem to be working out and has had a successful launch for them. They also do have their own streaming service, somewhat similar to Stadia, called Amazon Luna, which I don't even know how long it's been out. It's not really something anyone talks about. So that aspect of their gaming ambitions may not be going terribly well, but they also have Twitch, and now they have a reputation as releasing at least one game that is pretty solid. And I know some people are sort of worried about Amazon, the somewhat problematic megacorporation, making its way into gaming. But we are in the very early stages of this, so we don't really know what's to come here. The long-term success of New World has yet to be proven. It is obviously extremely popular right now, but we are in the early days, and we don't know how sort of the long-term prospects of the game will shake out as people make their way to the end game. Is this an MMO that sticks around for years and years, like many in the genre are supposed to, or is this something where interest kind of spikes immediately and then fades away? So far, this seems like a game that is worth sticking with for the long haul, and it is very clear that after this level of success, they are going to continue to sink more and more resources into it. I guess my question would be mainly about what else Amazon can produce here, and if they can sort of get out of this track of having everything be kind of a mess over there and canceling so many projects. And even this game just struggled incredibly hard to kind of make it out. And I think everyone is just impressed it did make it out in the state that it's in, and it is actually, surprisingly cohesive in a lot of ways. If they can capitalize on this, if they can kind of learn the lessons from this and build out their studio, they could become a major force in gaming. Obviously, a lot of these games take years and years to develop, so we might not see the fruits of kind of the lessons learned here for a couple more years. But if they can kind of figure out what worked about New World and why they were able to make this one work as opposed to the other ones, I can see that being hugely beneficial to them in the future. They are going to continue to have extremely prominent market share with Twitch in the live streaming space, even though some other competitors like YouTube are starting to encroach on them. Luna game streaming in general seems a little up in the air right now. I would not rule out Amazon theoretically making a console someday. I wouldn't put it past them, just given their ambitions in the gaming space. And I think that New World is going to just kind of whet their appetite that like, okay, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can, become a true force in gaming like Microsoft has, even though that wasn't, it's not PlayStation, it's not Nintendo, it's not a company that's original purpose is gaming, or a brand that's original purpose is gaming, but it's something they were able to transition into. Can they join Microsoft and Sony as kind of larger electronics corporations, or larger tech corporations that have moved into gaming? That is a project that is going to take a long, long time. And one successful game from your in-house gaming studio does not necessarily equate to long-term success in the industry, but Amazon obviously does have a larger head start than a lot of places, and it all becomes increasingly complicated with its ownership of Twitch and how it will be able to heavily promote its own games if it wants to there, which we were already seeing with New World, and that has worked out. So in any case, it is certainly going to be a situation to watch, and I think it's good news for everyone that we have a fun new game to play. It's just Amazon entering the space comes with a lot of pros and cons, a lot of risks and potential rewards, and we'll see what happens.